On a bitterly cold and snowy winter night, Nasa Yuzaki finds himself helplessly lying on the street, his body bearing the weight of deep, crimson-stained wounds. During this ominous moment, as he believes his life is slipping away, Nasa's mind wanders back in time, recollecting the poignant memories of how he endured relentless ridicule due to his uniquely uncommon name. Undeterred, Nasa tenaciously dedicated his entire life to tireless studying, driven by an ardent desire to gain admittance into an esteemed and illustrious academic institution. However, fate cunningly intervened just before the critical entrance exam, as he traversed the icy streets with the hope of conversing with a charming girl named Tsukasa. Alas, tragedy struck him, and a menacing truck mercilessly collided with Nasa Yuzaki, shattering his dreams in an instant. In the present, he is lying on a snow-covered ground, drenched in a pool of crimson, giving the surroundings an eerie red hue. Despite the severity of his injuries, Nasa can't help but lament the fact that he remains ignorant of Tsukasa's name. With each passing moment, Nasa Yuzaki finds himself slipping into the unfathomable darkness of unconsciousness. Yet, as if through a miraculous beacon of hope, Tsukasa's melodious voice fills through the frosty air, tenderly pulling him back from the abyss. The girl is assuring the perplexed truck driver that she is unharmed, urging him to rush Nasa to the nearest hospital. Tsukasa's compassionate words resonate deeply with Nasa Yuzaki, dissolving the chains of despair that had bound him moments before. The resolute girl reassures Nasa, proclaiming that death shall not claim him so easily, as it takes much more than an unfortunate accident to extinguish a life. The awestruck driver stands bewildered by Tsukasa's bravery, realizing she had fearlessly absorbed the brunt of the truck's impact to save the boy. As Nasa gazes at Tsukasa's figure, vanishing into the night like a radiant celestial being, he is struck with a sudden revelation. She bears a remarkable resemblance to Princess Kaguya, the legendary lunar royalty herself. The thought of never setting eyes on Tsukasa again kindles an unquenchable fire within Nasa's spirit, and despite the agonizing pain coursing through his body, he summons the strength to rise, determined to pursue this enchanting girl. The driver stands in astonished disbelief, imploring the boy to rest, but Nasa remains steadfast in his pursuit, declaring the girl more important than to rest. After a considerable amount of time, he eventually locates Tsukasa seated at a stand and bravely ventures inside to meet her. With a confident demeanor, Nasa introduces himself, and Tsukasa warmly beckons him to sit beside her. Observing the severity of Nasa's injuries, she thoughtfully drapes her coat over him, urging Nasa to stay warm amidst the chilling snowfall. Curiously, the boy inquires if Tsukasa isn't feeling cold herself, to which the girl admits she is, but remains resolute in her decision to fetch help for him. Fearing for his life, Tsukasa promises to summon an ambulance, but before she leaves, Nasa Yuzaki defies his weakened state and attempts to stand, only to falter. Undeterred, Tsukasa realizes his legs are broken and cautions him that the adrenaline from the accident won't sustain him for long. Brimming with determination, Nasa pushes himself to follow her despite the odds. Tsukasa cautions that his movements may lead to his demise, but he fervently believes that love demands relentless effort, leading him to bravely confess his feelings to her. To its astonishment, Tsukasa reciprocates his affection, proposing that they can be together if Nasa marries her. Overjoyed, he eagerly accepts, but the strain proves too much, and Nasa succumbs to unconsciousness. The scene transitions, and Nasa Yuzaki awakens in a hospital, embarking on a path of recovery through rehab while preparing for high school exams postponed due to the accident. Despite achieving an impressive score, he decides to forego higher education, instead immersing himself in the service industry, hopeful of reuniting with Tsukasa once more. As the years pass and Yuzaki turns 18, he marvels at his accumulated earnings while pondering the profound effects of wholehearted dedication to work. At that moment, the doorbell rings, and to his awe, Nasa Yuzaki finds the very girl he's always dreamed of standing at his doorstep. Tsukasa joyfully exclaims that it's been a while, regretting not revealing her name earlier, which she now discloses to him. Intrigued yet nervous at having a girl in his apartment for the first time, Nasa Yuzaki inquires about the purpose of their meeting. Nonchalantly, Tsukasa hands him their marriage registration, leaving him utterly dumbfounded. Reminding him of their previous agreement, she persuades Nasa to sign the document, marking the beginning of their extraordinary journey together. Upon seeing the name Yuzaki Nasa inscribed on the registration paper, Tsukasa playfully remarks that her new name, Yuzaki Tsukasa, has a delightful resonance, eliciting a charming blush from her husband. Filled with unwavering belief in his character, Tsukasa affectionately advises him to take good care of her, and Nasa reciprocates this sentiment with heartfelt assurance. Led by Tsukasa, they proceed to the marriage registration office, leaving Nasa astonished by its late-night operation, a fact he was previously unaware of. During their stroll, Nasa contemplates how Tsukasa has always treated his name with respect, and curiosity prompts him to inquire about her genuine fascination. In response, Tsukasa eloquently praises his name, further reinforcing his deep admiration for this captivating girl, solidifying Nasa's desire to marry her. The scene transitions to the marriage office, where the kind elderly attendant processes their papers, offering heartfelt congratulations and a thoughtful gift of a flower pot to celebrate their union. As they step out into the night, Nasa curiously inquires if all offices bestow such gifts, and Tsukasa playfully suggests that it likely varies from place to place. With a gentle yet affectionate gesture, Tsukasa extends her hand towards Nasa, inviting him to hold it, causing him to blush once more. In an endearing moment, they clasp hands, and Nasa finds himself enchanted by the blissful prospects of marriage. The scene then transitions to their return to the apartment, where Tsukasa shares that she needs to attend to an errand and asks Nasa if he has 2 futons at home. With a hint of excitement, he responds that they have only 1 bed. Tsukasa acknowledges this with a graceful okay before departing. Meanwhile, Nasa's heart flutters with anticipation as he imagines the prospect of sharing the same bed with her, their future intertwined in a love-filled journey. In the cozy apartment, Nasa is filled with nervous anticipation as he prepares to spend the night with his beloved wife, Tsukasa. However, a touch of concern creeps in as he contemplates the seemingly small single bed that might not comfortably accommodate both of them. Undeterred, Nasa searches for a perfect sleeping position that would embrace both their presence. Finally, a clever idea emerges as he is holding a pillow. Nasa determines offering himself as a body pillow for Tsukasa's comfort. To his surprise, she suddenly appears before him with a captivating aura and gently declines the proposal. Upon Nasa's inquiry about her sudden appearance, Tsukasa shares that the door was unlocked and no one was opening it, so she let herself in the apartment. Additionally, Tsukasa thoughtfully reveals that she retrieved her suitcase from the locker, leaving Nasa feeling adorably flustered. As he busies himself making coffee, his curiosity prompts him to inquire about Tsukasa's sleeping arrangements for the night. With a tender smile, his wife responds that she will be staying with her husband, causing Nasa's cheeks to blush with delight at the endearing term. Filled with affection, he then seeks to understand the reasons behind Tsukasa's decision to marry him. In a playful way, she tosses the question back to him. Brimming with sincerity, Nasa Yuzaki confesses that his love for her was the driving force behind his choice. To this, Tsukasa wholeheartedly gives the same reason, declaring to keep the moment she fell in love with him a delightful secret. Subsequently, Tsukasa departs for a capsule hotel since the apartment lacks a futon. However, driven by an overwhelming feeling of not wanting to lose her, Nasa follows his wife, led by his heart's yearning. Filled with deep affection, he invites Tsukasa to spend the night in his apartment, vowing to find a memory foam futon to cater to her preferences. As the scene transitions, both find themselves in a vibrant mart, captivated by the wide array of futons on display. Amused by the momentous occasion, Tsukasa teases Nasa, cheekily referring to it as her first present from her husband. Embracing the significance of the occasion, Tsukasa seeks information about the various types of futons available. Confidently, Nasa effortlessly explains the qualities of each one, impressing Tsukasa with his studious knowledge and earning a well-deserved compliment. With newfound familiarity, Nasa realizes that this delightful outing can be considered their first date as a married couple, further cementing the depth of their bond. Embracing the comfort of their love, he joyfully takes her hand, cherishing the sweet connection they share. Witnessing Nasa's initially awkward grip, Tsukasa firmly clasps his hand and they continue their exploration, creating a sensation of bliss that feels almost heavenly. The scene transitions as they arrive back at the apartment. Nasa places the futon down, expressing that there were better, albeit pricier, options, but Tsukasa joyfully declares her preference for the chosen one. Trying it out, she remarks on its comfort, leaving Nasa flustered by the presence of this wonderful girl in his abode. Tsukasa then inquires about the availability of a bath in the apartment, and Nasa explains that he typically visits the local bathhouse. His wife then mentions needing some daily necessities for her stay, and hand in hand they head to the convenience store. Later, back at the apartment, Nasa finds himself blushing as he glances at his hand, reminiscent of their time at the convenience store. Nasa observes Tsukasa changing her clothes behind a door, and as she emerges, he remarks that he'll also change his clothes. Tsukasa suggests that Nasa can change in the same room, but he feels embarrassed to do so in front of her. Agreeing with his sentiment, Tsukasa acknowledges that she would feel the same way. After both have changed, they turn off the light, agreeing to call it a night. As Nasa gazes at Tsukasa bathed in the dreamy moonlight, he expresses his contentment that they fulfill their promise of marriage. Responding with warmth, Tsukasa bids him good night, addressing him affectionately as darling. As the night progresses, Nasa's heart races, captivated by the adorable sight of his sleeping wife. Observing Tsukasa's restlessness, he decides to adjust her futon, choosing not to kiss her just yet, as Nasa hopes to experience their first kiss when she's fully awake. Suddenly, Tsukasa wakes up, flustering her husband, who hastily pretends to be asleep, unsure of how to react to her sleepwalking antics. She grabs some water and returns to her futon, unintentionally landing on Nasa and wrapping herself in his comforter, leaving him to endure the cold night. Morning arrives and Nasa wakes up to find Tsukasa adorably confused, her hair untied and 2 comforters entangled around her. As she begins to unbutton her shirt, Nasa blushes and promptly addresses her with a respectful Tsukasa-san in the nick of time, before excusing himself to change in the next room. San is a term used to address a partner honorably. Upon his return, he sees Tsukasa donning an apron. Playfully embracing their marital status, Tsukasa affectionately calls him Nasa-kun, a term used to show respect. In return, he calls her Tsukasa-chan, a term used to address a lover, eliciting a charming blush from her. Tsukasa playfully refers to him as darling, fondly recognizing the time it takes to grow accustomed to new names. Nasa wholeheartedly agrees and addresses her as Tsukasa-chan once more, making his wife blush. In just 10 minutes, Tsukasa skillfully prepares breakfast, leaving Nasa astounded by her culinary prowess. They happily savor the delicious meal, with Tsukasa proudly showcasing her vast knowledge in the culinary arts. Nasa is in sheer bliss, relishing the delectable dishes as his own cooking skills pale in comparison. After breakfast, they decide to head to the bathhouse. On their way, Tsukasa convinces Nasa to purchase various items, including moisturizers for her, adding a touch of playfulness to their outing. Upon reaching the bathhouse, they are warmly greeted by Arizawa Kaname, who is diligently sweeping the front. Nasa introduces Tsukasa to her, mentioning that Kaname is his junior from middle school, known for her dirty sense of humor. Kaname teasingly scolds Nasa and playfully questions if Tsukasa is truly his girlfriend. To everyone's surprise, he confidently reveals that they are actually married, leaving Kaname utterly shocked. Taking note of the unexpected news, she generously offers them free access to the bathhouse as a gift. However, before Nasa can enter, Kaname stops him and inquires if her sister, Aya, knows about their marriage. He admits that she is unaware, and Kaname advises him to keep it that way, humorously referring to Nasa as an egghead. She then emphasizes the importance of being responsible for Tsukasa, prompting Nasa to passionately proclaim his love for his beloved wife. This causes Tsukasa, who has just come back to get the supplies, to blush with embarrassment. Before she departs again, Tsukasa playfully remarks that her husband's open declaration makes Tsukasa feel both embarrassed and happy, leaving a blushing Nasa behind. The scene shifts, and Nasa finds himself daydreaming about encountering Tsukasa in the bathhouse, akin to those typical anime scenarios. Lost in his fantasy, he is caught off guard by Kaname, who starts teasing him. Flustered, Nasa tries to hide in the bath pool to escape the embarrassment. Meanwhile, at Tsukasa's side, she steps into the bath pool, mistakenly thinking it's empty. To her surprise, she encounters Arizawa Aya, who profusely apologizes for the unexpected encounter. Tsukasa graciously reassures the girl, and Aya uses a shower to wash her back as a way of making amends. In awe of Tsukasa's beauty, Aya compliments her. In response, Tsukasa introduces herself using her husband's surname. This inadvertently leads Aya to mistake her for Nasa's younger sister. The scene transitions seamlessly, where Yuzaki Nasa finds himself lost in a daydream, reliving the precious memory of the day he first met Tsukasa. Upon waking, he is met with a delightful sight of Tsukasa standing gracefully next to him, her compliment about his admirable sleeping form causing a rosy blush to grace his cheeks. In this heartwarming moment, Aya approaches them, warmly greeting Nasa while referring to them as a family. Misinterpreting her words, he assumes that she is already aware of Tsukasa's true identity. Aya then proceeds to express her heartfelt gratitude for him, informing Tsukasa of all the help Nasa has provided to revitalize their struggling family business, which had been in a dire state after her father's departure and grandfather's passing. During this touching exchange, Tsukasa astutely notices a subtle undercurrent of affection in Aya's words, hinting at a potential attraction towards her husband. As they make their way back to the apartment, Tsukasa can't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. She keenly observes how passionately Nasa keeps on praising Aya after Tsukasa had momentarily mentioned her cuteness. Little does the poor husband know that his innocent admiration is inadvertently stoking his wife's insecurities. With a loving heart, Nasa wrongly interprets Tsukasa's silence as a desire for a grand wedding ceremony as they are passing by a charming chapel along their route. Despite his genuine feelings, Nasa hesitates and requests time to consider the idea, urging his wife to return home without him momentarily. As Tsukasa observes this unexpected response, she feels bewildered and somewhat hurt. Meanwhile, in the shadows of a mysterious black car, Tsukasa's younger sister remains on their trail, having successfully tracked her down. Tsukasa arrives home and feels a deep sense of loneliness as she finds herself in solitude. Attempting to distract herself, Tsukasa embarks on some cleaning, only to discover the apartment in immaculate condition. Undeterred, she decides to prepare a special meal for Nasa. Just as Tsukasa anticipates his arrival, a knock on the door interrupts her thoughts. Assuming it's her husband, she eagerly opens the door, but to Tsukasa's surprise, her sister Chitose stands outside, explaining that she has come to take Tsukasa with her. Caught off guard, Tsukasa hurriedly shuts the door, causing Chitose to knock insistently. After much pleading from her sister, Tsukasa eventually opens the door and inquires about the reason for Chitose's visit. She reveals that their great-grandmother is deeply worried about Tsukasa's absence, but Tsukasa shrewdly points out that Chitose must have arrived without even informing Tokiko, their great-grandmother. With firm resolve, Tsukasa Nasa instructs Chitose to inform Tokiko about her marriage and assures her that she will visit at the right time. Slamming the door shut, Tsukasa leaves Chitose dumbfounded. As she sits outside the apartment, visibly upset and crying, Nasa comes across her. He extends a handkerchief to Chitose, offering solace as Yuzaki learns about her situation. Chitose explains that a non-blood related yet person who she considers family member won't be accompanying her to home. In this emotional moment, Chitose admires Nasa's kindness and his genuine desire to assist in any way he can. As Nasa inquires Chitose about a suitable place to propose, Tsukasa appears and calls out to him. In response, Nasa mentions that they only have one key, so he came home to avoid inconveniencing her, which leads Tsukasa to compliment him for being considerate. At that moment, Chitose, filled with anger, declares that she will not allow him to have her sister upon realizing that he is Tsukasa's husband. Yuzaki Nasa acknowledges her feelings, calmly takes control of the conversation, and learns about Kajinoji Chitose, her wife's previous family. Tsukasa is amazed by Nasa's handling of the situation. However, Chitose swiftly takes matters into her own hands, ordering her guard to kidnap Nasa. Hence, he ties him and throws Nasa in a limousine. Chitose then drives it, leaving Tsukasa behind with a sigh. Upon reaching the mansion where Chitose lives, which is actually Tsukasa's family home, the girl informs Nasa that she intends to ruin his marriage through tabloid journalism. Chitose further explains that she only needs pictures of his alleged infidelity as evidence and calls her maids Aurora and Charlotte to brief them on the situation. Excited by Nasa's presence, Charlotte is about to take off his clothes, but the other two girls stop her just in time. Chitose clarifies that she only needs pictures to prove Nasa's unworthiness as Tsukasa's husband, and Charlotte doesn't need to go that far. As they are distracted, Nasa takes the opportunity and runs off. As the girls become aware of his absence, they start searching for him. Unintentionally, Yuzaki Nasa enters Tsukasa's room, where he discovers a genuine moon rock stored in a glass container to prevent oxidation. Charlotte enters the room and begins attacking Nasa with a large sword, creating a commotion that catches the attention of Aurora and Chitose. They intervene, realizing it's too late, as the glass container has already cracked. Promptly, Nasa requests a screwdriver and tape, expressing confidence in his ability to fix it. Witnessing his successful repair, Aurora is amazed, wondering if he's a genius. Curious about the moonstone's authenticity, Nasa asks Chitose, who confirms it is real and that her great-grandmother borrowed it for Tsukasa's needs. He inquires why his wife requires it, prompting Chitose to inquire if he's unaware of Tsukasa's past. Nasa responds with a slightly negative tone, but playfully adds that he knows she's undeniably cute and a restless sleeper, continuing to ramble on until Chitose interrupts him. She asserts that only Chitose can fulfill Tsukasa's wishes, but Charlotte intervenes to prevent any further yelling and instead rewards Nasa with a warm hug. Aurora captures the moment with her camera, skillfully editing the pictures to make it appear as if Yuzaki is harassing Charlotte. Just then, Tsukasa arrives and takes the picture from Nasa's hand, inviting him to accompany her. Observing the scene, Chitose comments that their plan succeeded, but Aurora corrects her, stating that the duo has managed to successfully escape, leaving the young Chitose astonished. Meanwhile, Yuzaki Nasa attempts to explain the situation to Tsukasa, but she stops him, indicating that she already knows. They hurriedly escape through a secret passage that leads to the Church of Alex in Marco, an ancient church located atop a hill, rarely visited by anyone. Tsukasa admires the beauty of the place and expresses her desire for Nasa to see it too. Touched by his wife's words, he takes her hands and confesses that Nasa envisions them as a couple who share and support each other. Tsukasa teases him, playfully suggesting that it sounds like a proposal, to which Yuzaki Nasa agrees and unexpectedly kisses her, sealing their affectionate moment. Upon discovering her husband's television-less abode, Tsukasa finds herself completely taken aback, especially considering her unwavering adoration for movies. Eagerly, she delves into an eager explanation on the myriad genres of films, leaving Nasa utterly astounded by her profound knowledge and enthusiasm. Touched by his wife's passion for movies and determined to cater to her desires, Nasa resolves to pleasantly surprise her with a television. This prompts the newly wedded couple to go on a thrilling shopping expedition that they embark on together in search of a television. Sometime later, in the tranquil setting of the bathhouse, Nasa brims with excitement as he confides in Kaname about his plans of the proposal to his beloved wife. Nasa excitedly tells her all about the anticipated precious moment with Tsukasa. However, Kaname firmly believes that mere words won't suffice for such a significant occasion, asserting that a symbol of their love in the form of a ring would be the ideal gesture for Tsukasa. Persuasive in her conviction, Kaname manages to sway Nasa, who wholeheartedly agrees to embark on a heartwarming ring shopping adventure to find the perfect token of love for his beloved Tsukasa. After a delightful break, Tsukasa gracefully emerges from the soothing bath, and both she and Yuzaki blush upon seeing each other, cherishing the sweetness of their stolen moment before making their way home. Along the journey, Nasa thoughtfully shares his work commitment in the afternoon, to which Tsukasa responds with an unperturbed smile, guiding him to a nearby park, where her subtle hint of solitude doesn't escape Yuzaki's discerning eyes. In a heartwarming display of affection, he lovingly kisses her, oblivious to the hidden eyes of Aurora and Charlotte, who secretly observe the couple's endearing exchange. The candid intimacy between the two is effortlessly captured by the secret onlookers, who witness a scene brimming with tenderness and devotion. As the day unfolds, Yuzaki's heart yearns for his beloved wife while fulfilling his work duties. This poignant longing further solidifies his unwavering determination to obtain a ring, a tangible emblem of their profound love and unbreakable bond. Upon returning home, Nasa finds himself immersed in the bliss of a sumptuous dinner prepared by Tsukasa. Amidst their heartwarming conversation, she graciously enlightens him about the significance and distinction between engagement and wedding rings. Though learning that these symbols of love can be quite expensive, Yuzaki remains steadfast and unwavering in his resolve to acquire them, as the depth of his commitment to Tsukasa knows no bounds. As Nasa is determined in his quest, Tsukasa firmly decides to join her husband in it. Together, they start their journey to the esteemed Honey Winston store in Omotesando, renowned for its exquisite and unparalleled selection of rings. As the sun peaks over the horizon, they set out on their adventure, and Yuzaki finds himself utterly astonished by the eye-watering price tags adorning some of the rings. Salusro's persuasive pitch tempts Nasa, momentarily swaying him towards a pricey purchase. However, Tsukasa steps in, eloquently expressing her preference for a more modest yet equally meaningful option. Together, they make their way to Okachimachi, where they discover an array of beautiful rings that not only captivate their hearts but also fit more comfortably within their budget. With the perfect ring in their possession, Tsukasa lovingly reassures Nasa that the depth of his emotions will forever shine through this precious token, steadfast and unwavering in their bond. Overwhelmed with love and affection, she warmly reaffirms her devotion to her beloved husband. They seal their unwavering commitment to each other with this tangible symbol, destined to forever hold the essence of their eternal love. In the quiet and serene night, Tsukasa, in a drowsy state, unknowingly embarks on a sleepwalking adventure, finding herself nestled beside her husband in his bed, leaving him to endure a restless night. The following morning, as the memories of the previous night come rushing back, Nasa realizes the need for a more spacious apartment that can accommodate a two-person bed. The scene transitions to a playful moment in the bathhouse, where Kanan relentlessly teases Nasa, artfully persuading him to seek a larger apartment, citing his married status as the perfect reason for an upgrade. Upon returning home from work, Nasa unexpectedly stumbles upon Tsukasa in the midst of changing her clothes, causing a momentary commotion that results in both of them letting out a startled scream. In the midst of this amusing episode, Nasa skillfully manages to convince Tsukasa to consider moving to a more expansive apartment by enticing her with the promise of ample space for a captivating movie projector. The idea seems to resonate with Tsukasa as she becomes more open to the prospect of relocating. As the couple explores the logistics of the move, they learn about the necessity of a guarantor. This revelation prompts Nasa to make the courageous decision of revealing their marriage to his parents. Upon returning home, he promptly reaches out to his mother to share the exciting news of his marriage and the upcoming plans for a larger apartment. The subsequent day brings a delightful development, with Nasa's mother extending a warm invitation for a visit in Nara Prefecture, indicating their willingness to act as guarantors for the couple. Embracing this opportunity, the couple joyously agree to pay a visit to Nasa's hometown, envisioning a future filled with wonderful possibilities in their new abode. In the midst of these unfolding events, Chitose accidentally discovers their upcoming trip through her vigilant maids, leaving her utterly astonished to hear Aurora's remarks, suggesting that this journey could be deemed a honeymoon. Meanwhile, Nasa is equally thrilled as he realizes that their expedition to Nara could indeed be seen as a romantic honeymoon, adding to his excitement. Amidst Nasa's delightful daydreams, Tsukasa gently approaches him, expressing her desire to acquire a camera to capture the cherished moments of their daily lives. Nasa readily embraces the idea, and together, they venture out to purchase a camera. This sparks within him a newfound passion for documenting every endearing aspect of his beloved wife. Under the enchanting night sky, they embark on their journey using a bus to Kyoto, the enchanting city preceding Nara. Notably, Chitose discreetly tails them, trailing in her car. After a while, the bus halts at a service station for a generous 50-minute respite, during which Tsukasa and Nasa opt to visit the delightful food court for a meal. Observing the couple's radiant happiness as they walk away, Charlotte and Aurora seek confirmation from Chitose regarding her intentions to intervene in their relationship. Determined and resolute, she reveals her plan to seek their divorce. Chitose cynically remarks that honeymooning couples often encounter the ease of divorce due to their susceptibility to overreacting at the slightest provocation. However, her anticipation of such a situation does not materialize, as Tsukasa displays remarkable composure when Nasa momentarily leaves her at the entrance of the food court to retrieve his wallet from the bus. Inside the bustling food court, Tsukasa ventures to try the enticing lime udon inspired by a TV show. Encouraging Nasa to embrace new challenges, she insists that he must taste the unconventional dish. Despite her initial disappointment with the udon's similarity to the regular version, Nasa ingeniously suggests savoring it with lime, which elicits a humorous reaction from Tsukasa, an amusing moment captured skillfully by Nasa's camera. As a result, Tsukasa playfully sulks, much to Chitos's delight, who relishes the unfolding drama. To make amends, Nasa agrees to let his wife choose his next culinary adventure, and they opt for delectable melon bread. While Tsukasa indulges in the scrumptious treat, Nasa excuses himself to visit the restroom. Sensing opportunity, Chitos approaches Tsukasa, confronting her about their marriage, eager to exploit the situation. However, their private moment is suddenly interrupted by TV show cameramen entering the service station. Fearing exposure of their relationship on television, Tsukasa swiftly flees with Nasa by her side, while Aurora accompanies Chitos to ensure their whereabouts remain undisclosed from the great-grandmother. Back on the bus, Nasa inquires about Chitos, prompting Tsukasa to reveal the girl's opposition to their marriage and expressing concern about his parents' potential disapproval. With unwavering confidence, Nasa assures her that he can sway his parents' hearts, reassuring Tsukasa that there's no need to worry. As the sun rises, they finally arrive in Kyoto, blessed with some leisure time before their train departs for Nara. Eager to immerse themselves in the city's beauty, they seize the opportunity for sightseeing, making their journey all the more delightful. Along the way, they chance upon a rental shop offering exquisite kimonos, and Tsukasa's graceful figure draped in one leaves Nasa in awe, marveling at her captivating beauty. Sadly, their enchanting moment is interrupted by Chitos and her entourage. Upon hearing her disapproval of their marriage, Nasa feels compelled to apologize to Tsukasa for the unforeseen interruption, vowing to convince Chitos of their love. Surprisingly, Aurora and Charlotte propose taking Tsukasa on a sightseeing escapade, an offer she gracefully accepts. As Tsukasa ventures off with her newfound companions, Nasa embarks with Chitos. She calls it a memorable date to test his abilities, while Nasa is determined to demonstrate his worthiness as Tsukasa's partner. Back at Tsukasa's side, the maids engage in gossips about her husband, causing her to blush, whereas Nasa takes Chitos around for sightseeing and lets her try different foods. With meticulous planning and a charming demeanor, he leaves Chitos in awe, rendering her momentarily speechless. However, the realization that he embodies Tsukasa's ideal type ignites a spark of anger within Chitos, leading to an abrupt departure from their sightseeing endeavor. Undeterred, Nasa follows her, determined to bridge the gap between them. Amidst an emotional encounter, Chitos vents her frustration, confessing the disapproval of Tsukasa's marriage to someone seemingly ignorant of her past. In response, Nasa opens up about how Tsukasa had saved his life, narrating their touching encounter. Employing his expertise in mathematics, he presents various heartfelt arguments, vowing to spend a lifetime proving their boundless love and devotion. As the scene transitions to the train station, Tsukasa eagerly inquires about the outcome of her husband's conversation with Chitos. Nasa, with a hint of uncertainty, reveals that she has returned to Tokyo. Nevertheless, they set forth on their journey to Nara, their hearts intertwined with hope and love, ready to embrace the adventures that await them in their new life together. With bubbling excitement, Tsukasa and Nasa venture into the beautiful and enchanting city of Nara. Nasa informs his wife that he had his upbringing in bustling Tokyo, which contrasts with the serene ambience of his parents' current abode. They have settled in Nara just for Nasa's father's captivating archaeological excavation. As they approach the charming house, Tsukasa is warmly introduced to Kanoka and Enishi, her husband's parents, a pair emanating love and amiability. Yet both Nasa and Tsukasa can't help but notice a touch of nervousness shown by his parents during this momentous first meeting. The atmosphere soon eases into pleasant and easygoing conversation, as Enishi thoughtfully suggests Nasa take a moment to relax with a soothing bath, allowing him to have an intimate and private chat with his dear daughter-in-law, Tsukasa. As night descends and the couple find themselves nestled in a cozy room, Yuzaki Nasa experiences a mix of emotions, spending a somewhat restless night. His heart dances with exhilaration and a hint of anxiety, knowing that he is currently sharing this intimate space with his beloved wife, embarking on a new chapter of their lives together. As the morning sun gracefully ascends, Tsukasa finds herself standing by the window, her gaze thoughtful and captivated by the breathtaking view before her. Enishi, ever perceptive, notices her contemplative mood and approaches his daughter-in-law with a touch of flustered charm, extending an invitation to his office. Tsukasa, with genuine enthusiasm, eagerly accepts the offer, her curiosity piqued by the allure of history that lies within. Enishi leads her to his office, a well-appointed space adorned with an impressive array of captivating books and fascinating artifacts, each telling tales from times long past. Later, after a peaceful slumber, Nasa rouses from his restful sleep, somewhat intrigued and perplexed by the sight that greets him. Tsukasa, deeply engrossed in a book within the office, remains an enigma to him in that moment. With a heart brimming with affection, he soon joins her, the enchanting presence of his wife adding to the allure of the morning. Following this shared moment, the two goes on to eat delightful breakfast, savoring each moment of togetherness, where love and the joy of companionship are the main ingredients in this heartwarming morning feast. With a sparkle of excitement in her mesmerizing eyes, Tsukasa expresses her heartfelt desire to embark on a captivating exploration of the charming sights that Nara has to offer. She eagerly envisions capturing cherished memories through photographs of her beloved husband, Nasa. Together, they set forth on this enchanting journey, immersing themselves in the grandeur of renowned landmarks like the majestic Great Buddha of Nara. As Tsukasa eloquently recounts the rich history surrounding these awe-inspiring sights, Nasa finds himself genuinely impressed by her profound knowledge and passionate spirit. Their adventurous souls lead them to the former site of Heijo Palace, where a fleeting touch of melancholy graces Tsukasa's delicate features as she gazes upon the vast empty field filled with echoes of times gone by. Amidst this delightful exploration, Tsukasa shows a heartwarming gesture, skillfully recording a video of Nasa, a heartfelt token intended to be shared with Enishi. She remembers how the previous night her father-in-law, Enishi, showed gratitude for Tsukasa's role in saving his son's life. The devoted wife lovingly embraces the responsibility of caring for Nasa, seeking to preserve the essence of the cherished moments they've shared. With the evening casting its gentle embrace, the time comes to bid farewell to Kanoka and Enishi, the loving and amiable parents of Nasa. As Tsukasa and Nasa embark on their journey back to Tokyo, little do they know that a devastating surprise awaits them. Upon their arrival, they are met with an utterly shocking sight: their once beloved apartment reduced to ashes, leaving them dumbfounded and overwhelmed by a mixture of emotions. Nasa's heart fills with relief as he discovers the wedding gift plant remains unharmed, save for the slightly cracked pot. Reassuring Tsukasa, he explains that all their valuable possessions are securely stored in a safety deposit box, and they have the comfort of insurance to fall back on. Together, the couple head to the bathhouse, where they indulge in a refreshing soak to wash away the day's worries. Amid their playful banter, Kaname, the kind host, extends a generous offer for Nasa and Tsukasa to stay at the bathhouse temporarily while they search for a new place to call home. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Nasa graciously accepts the thoughtful gesture. Guided by Kaname, they make their way to the spare building, nestled within the bathhouse's serene surroundings. Left alone, Tsukasa warmly compliments Nasa on his likable nature, causing a charming blush to grace his cheeks. Meanwhile, in the bustling kitchen, Kaname engages in a heartfelt conversation with her sister, Aya, confronting her about her affection for Nasa. In a subtle manner, she hints at his marriage, but Aya does not get the hint. This results in Kaname expressing her frustration at her sister's unawareness of the situation. In a timely moment, Nasa enters the kitchen, expressing heartfelt gratitude to Aya for their warm hospitality, to which she humbly replies that it's no trouble at all. Suddenly, her mother appears and warmly compliments Nasa for having such a lovely and enchanting wife like Tsukasa. Startled by this revelation, Aya finally learns about Nasa's marital status. This prompts a mix of emotions within her heart, knowing that her crush is married now. Encouraged by a conversation with Kaname, Aya manages to gather her composure and congratulates Nasa on his blissful marriage. Determined to channel her energy into new pursuits, Aya boldly proclaims her desire to become a YouTuber, eliciting surprised exclamations from her mother and sister, who find the idea both audacious and exciting. As days pass, Nasa and Tsukasa find themselves at the Arizugawa's laundromat, tending to their laundry, including the garments worn during their memorable visit to Nara. Back at the serene bathhouse, after Nasa returns from his laundry duties, Kaname thoughtfully suggests taking Tsukasa shopping for clothes, knowing her wardrobe has been ravaged by the unfortunate apartment fire. Nasa readily agrees, especially after Kaname tantalizingly mentions the prospect of seeing Tsukasa adorned in numerous cute outfits. Nasa, filled with enthusiasm, shares the idea of a shopping spree with his wife, who leads him to the vibrant streets of Harajuku, a renowned hub for fashion. Having been accustomed to department store shopping himself, Nasa eagerly embraces this exciting adventure. They venture into Harajuku, savoring each moment as the couple explores a myriad of shops, relishing the thrill of their shopping spree and cherishing the joy they find in each other's company throughout the entire day. Tsukasa and Nasa comfortably settle into their delightful temporary abode, basking in the blissful ambience. During dinner, Nasa is ecstatic to savor the mouth-watering tonkatsu lovingly prepared by Tsukasa. He showers his beloved wife with heartwarming compliments for her culinary skills. After the sumptuous meal, Kaname pays them a visit, bearing a luscious muskmelon thoughtfully presented to the couple as a gift from a guest at the bathhouse. With a playful teasing of the newly wedded pair, Kaname bids adieu and leaves them to enjoy their evening. As the night unfolds, Tsukasa and Nasa share the sweet and succulent muskmelon, cherishing each moment together. Eventually, they retire to the comforts of sleep, embracing the joyous memories they created. The following day brings unexpected news for Nasa as his former landlord extends a generous offer for a unit in the new apartment complex being constructed at the site of his old apartment, all at the same rate. Upon hearing this, Kaname, in a melancholic manner, inquires if Nasa is considering moving away. He candidly responds that the decision is not yet finalized, but Nasa cannot indefinitely rely on her family. He then shares the enticing offer with his wife, and she is greatly impressed by the opportunity it presents. Finally, Tsukasa and Nasa enthusiastically decide to explore the model for the new apartment, but inadvertently end up at the wrong one, nestled within a posh and opulent high-rise complex. Despite the mix-up, they take in the grandeur of the luxurious surroundings with awe and wonder. Nasa, gazing at the extravagant setting, pledges to exert unwavering effort to someday provide Tsukasa with the privilege of dwelling in such a lavish abode. In response, Tsukasa tenderly assures him that home is wherever he is, evoking a heartwarming smile from Nasa as they bask in the affectionate warmth of their love. In the passage of time, Tsukasa persuades Kaname to let her lend a hand with the household chores. To Kaname's amazement, Nasa's wife exhibits her meticulous cleaning skills, leaving no speck of dust behind. Moreover, Kaname learns about the innovative systems that Nasa has artfully installed in the bathhouse, further deepening her admiration for his resourcefulness. She playfully suggests that Nasa might be the reincarnation of a certain armor-clad businessman, eliciting a joyful laugh from Tsukasa. Additionally, Kaname expresses her heartfelt gratitude to Tsukasa for saving Nasa's life, affirming the strong bond between the trio. Later on, in a conversation, Tsukasa curiously inquires about Nasa's favorite food. With thorough behavioral analysis, he reveals that it is none other than the tantalizing curry, which astounds Tsukasa, captivated by his intriguing response. In a unanimous decision, they agree to go on a quest for curry powder. As the night descends, Tsukasa and Nasa venture out on their grocery expedition, and on the way back, they heed Aya's mother's suggestion and take a delightful detour to the enchanting Otogi Park. Amidst the park's serene beauty, Tsukasa and Nasa find themselves wrapped in each other's arms, sharing an intensely romantic and tender moment, their love illuminated under the moonlit sky. Chitose, accompanied by her diligent maids, surprisingly arrives at Tsukasa and Nasa's residence, only to be met with a heart-wrenching sight of their apartment engulfed in flames. In that very moment, Chitose's keen eyes spot Tsukasa walking by, prompting her to swiftly halt her steps and inquire about their new abode. Aware of Chitose's gullible nature, Tsukasa craftily weaves a tale about residing in the park, skillfully eluding any further probing. As the story unfolds, Tsukasa eventually reaches the bathhouse, where a captivating scene unfolds before her. A plethora of enticing video game consoles and Nasa's intense gaze fixated upon a tantalizing takoyaki plate captivate her senses. Seizing this opportunity, she warmly educates Nasa about the culinary delight that he has yet to discover. With newfound knowledge of takoyaki, Nasa's enthusiasm reaches its peak, and he promptly conceives the idea of hosting a grand takoyaki party. Inviting the Arisugawa family to partake in this savory delight, Nasa decides to personally extend the invitation to Kaname, ensuring the event will be truly memorable. Just as the preparations for the party commence, an unexpected guest makes her presence known. Chitose, resolute in her mission to confront her sister, arrives on the scene. Yet quick-thinking Kaname artfully deflects her attention by offering her a delightful distraction, a rejuvenating bath that beckons her into its comforting embrace. After this captivating and eventful episode, Chitose discovers that Tsukasa won't be moving in with her because the bathhouse boasts a marvelous Mega Drive. Undeterred, she endeavors to entice her sister by promising to procure the latest gaming consoles as an incentive. Aya, inadvertently eavesdropping on this exchange, triggers another delightful round of banter. To quell the commotion, Kaname intervenes, suggesting that everyone attend the taco party instead. Nasa readily agrees, highlighting the opportunity to foster deeper connections and relish Tsukasa's exceptional culinary skills. Intrigued by the mention of her culinary prowess, Aya wonders if Tsukasa truly possesses this talent. As dusk descends, the much-anticipated taco party commences and everyone revels in the delectable feast. Aya becomes utterly convinced of Tsukasa's culinary artistry, thoroughly savoring each delightful bite. Yet, a thrilling twist emerges as she challenges Tsukasa to a showdown in Street Fighter V. Charlotte, ever the enthusiastic instigator, suggests a tournament to amplify the excitement, with the victor earning the privilege to have Nasa fulfill their desires. All agree to the thrilling tournament, and Chitose, Aya, and Tsukasa eagerly enter the fray. Aya confidently defeats Chitose with ease before turning her formidable skills against Tsukasa. Overcoming her in a hard-fought battle, Tsukasa accepts the loss gracefully and proposes a rematch. A nostalgic duel using the original controllers Nasa lovingly crafted for the classic Street Fighter. With her expertise in utilizing the retro controller, Tsukasa emerges victorious, impressing all with her gaming finesse. Observing this, Kaname praises Nasa's unwavering diligence and declares her sister as a natural gaming talent, though perhaps not the sharpest when it comes to other matters. Soon, Aya acquires her own proficiency with the original controller, giving Tsukasa a worthy challenge. The intense match concludes in a thrilling draw, forging a special bond between the two as they share a mutual passion for gaming. After the merriment of the party subsides, Nasa curiously asks Tsukasa what her plan was in case she had won the tournament. In response, Tsukasa coyly expresses her intentions with a tender kiss, leaving no words necessary to convey her affectionate desire. After Nasa receives an urgent call concerning issues with his workplace system, he readily agrees to resolve them. Despite Tsukasa's earnest warning not to overwork, Nasa confidently asserts that he knows when to halt. However, as the tasks pile up, Nasa finds himself caught in a whirlwind of responsibilities, resulting in him overexerting and foregoing sleep for an entire day. Unsurprisingly, his health begins to suffer, and he succumbs to a bothersome cold. Observing Nasa's weakened state, Tsukasa takes matters into her capable hands, accompanying him to the hospital to acquire the necessary medication. Once back home, she becomes the epitome of a caring spouse, ensuring he rests and tending to his needs diligently. Tsukasa embraces her role as his adorable and devoted wife, fulfilling her obligation to nurture him back to health. Amidst his illness-induced haze, Nasa expresses concern that Tsukasa might catch his cold, but his caring wife confidently reassures him that she remains impervious to such ailments. His foggy mind struggles to comprehend her enigmatic immunity, but the comforting embrace of slumber beckons and he drifts off into a much-needed rest. Upon awakening, Nasa finds himself in the tender care of her beloved wife, who lovingly feeds him. The nourishing gesture, coupled with her attentive affection, swiftly improves his condition, leaving him feeling remarkably better than before. In the gentle presence of his caring wife, Nasa finds solace and comfort as he recovers from his cold-induced woes. As the night approaches, Nasa tenderly confides in Tsukasa, expressing his heartfelt desire to attend the summer festival with her, which inadvertently caused him to become deeply engrossed in work. The following day at the bathhouse, amidst the relaxing ambience, Kaname playfully suggests Nasa's wife to wear a magnificent yukata for the festival. It is a robe-type Japanese dress. To Tsukasa's delight, Kaname thoughtfully presents her with not one but two exquisite yukatas, one for herself and another for Nasa. The scene then shifts to Nasa and Tsukasa, both adorned in their enchanting yukatas, their hands clasping a cherished camera, heading to the festival with excitement in their hearts. Upon arrival, the couple indulges in a delightful feast of traditional takoyaki, the flavors delighting Tsukasa's discerning palate. Their joyous stroll leads them to a captivating sight. Chitos and her company, accompanied by Aya, enjoying a spirited goldfish scooping game. Eager to partake, Nasa tries his hand at the challenging game, only to experience a comedic bout of failure, which leaves him feeling slightly embarrassed. Ever the supportive partner, Tsukasa lovingly reminds him of his own unique strengths, praising her husband's mastery of working on the computer. Seeking a moment of tranquility and reflection, Tsukasa leads Nasa to a serene shrine to offer their prayers. Just as the two are on the verge of sharing an intimate moment, their enchanting encounter is interrupted by Kaname, who excitedly announces the imminent fireworks display. Amidst the presence of Kaname and the other girls, Nasa and Tsukasa find themselves momentarily flustered, playfully offering endearing excuses for their fleeting moment of privacy. Swiftly, Nasa presents a great idea, suggesting they capture the enchanting memories together by taking group pictures. As the radiant fireworks spectacle illuminates the night sky, Kaname, Aya, Nasa, Tsukasa, Chitos, and her attentive maids Charlotte and Aurora all bask in the mesmerizing display, bonding through the shared joy of the moment. The magical night draws to a close, etching heartwarming memories in the hearts of the newfound friends, leaving them eagerly anticipating the dawn of yet another enchanting adventure. As Nasa is immersed in work, Tsukasa can't help but express her heartfelt disappointment with a certain shark-themed movie that had recently hit the screens. With a playful tease, she affectionately chided Nasa, remarking on the solace his adorable wife sought due to the cinematic letdown. Swiftly responding to Tsukasa's sentiments, Nasa assures her that he's going to swiftly conclude his tasks, promising to sweep Tsukasa away to the realm of movies. The mere prospect rekindles Tsukasa's spirits, infusing her demeanor with newfound enthusiasm. After a brief passage of time, the two find themselves standing before the grandeur of the theater. Tsukasa can't suppress her astonishment as she takes in the opulent interior that surrounds them. In response to her mild protestations about extravagance, Nasa tenderly explains that such indulgences are rare due to their infrequent outings. Their gazes then turn toward the screen as the film commences, and they embark on a cinematic journey together. Nasa can't help but be captivated by Tsukasa's myriad expressions throughout the movie. Every smile, gasp, and furrowed brow kindles a realization within him. The enchanting evening unfurls the possibility of more frequent movie excursions, particularly for the purpose of sharing these moments with his beloved Tsukasa. With a seamless transition, the scene shifts to Kaname, who possesses an intimate understanding of Tsukasa's influence on Nasa's actions. A sly grin playing upon her lips, Kaname playfully inquires about the date, letting the question of a potential wedding dance through the air. Nasa, his emotions an open book, candidly confesses that such a monumental decision had yet to be firmly established. Kaname's departure is marked by her lighthearted tease, envisioning Tsukasa adorned in the elegance of a bridal gown. Returning to the coziness of their home during a shared dinner, Nasa gently broaches the topic of weddings, his curiosity about Tsukasa's stance on the matter evident in his gaze. With a blend of humility and sincerity, Tsukasa candidly expresses her reluctance, citing the embarrassment associated with the intricate rituals performed before a multitude of witnesses. Nasa, ever the well-intentioned spouse, remains blissfully unaware of the complexities involved. His innocent suggestion of a wedding in the upcoming week cast a revealing light on Nasa's lack of insight into the intricacies of matrimonial arrangements. Tsukasa's realization of Nasa's unfamiliarity is further affirmed when she playfully prompts him to role-play a scenario involving venue reservations. Unexpectedly, the scene is enlivened by the sudden entrance of Kaname, her energy palpable as she chides Nasa for his endearing yet misguided folly. Tsukasa, intrigued by Kaname's unexpected presence, inquires about her intentions. With casual nonchalance, Kaname mentions her desire to share a watermelon, successfully injecting a lighthearted tone into the encounter. As the trio indulges in the juicy sweetness of the watermelon, Kaname takes it upon herself to demystify the intricate world of wedding expenses. Sharing insights about the monetary demands and complexities associated with matrimonial celebrations, Kaname unwittingly leaves Nasa completely flabbergasted. In a moment of clarity, Nasa humorously muses that the emotional outpourings during weddings might very well stem from the overwhelming financial implications, a sentiment shared by many who have traversed the path of matrimony. The scene seamlessly shifts to Chitose, who engages in rigorous martial arts training alongside the capable duo of Charlotte and Aurora. Amidst the flurry of disciplined movements, Chitose's curiosity gets the better of her, prompting Chitose to inquire of her maid about the impending union between Nasa and Tsukasa. The maid's, imbued with a sense of tradition and familial significance, suggests that the wedding can serve as an opportunity for both families to forge a deeper connection. Chitose's earnest desire shines through as she expresses her wish for her grandmother to witness the radiant spectacle of Tsukasa adorned in a resplendent wedding gown. Meanwhile, at the comforting embrace of the bathhouse, Nasa finds himself immersed in contemplation, meticulously parsing through the multifaceted expenses that accompany the grand event of a wedding. In the midst of his musings, an unexpected and somewhat startling voice pierces the air as Aya pipes up with an explanation of what a betrothal gift entails. Startled by her sudden interjection, Nasa turns to address the source of the voice, only to find Aya tucked away in a covert vantage point seeking refuge from Kaname in order to indulge in a bout of video game escapism. Undeterred by Nasa's perplexed inquiry, Aya delves into the intricate significance of betrothal gifts, offering insights that mirror the layers of cultural complexity. In a seamless transition, Tsukasa gracefully enters the scene, her demeanor carrying the tranquility that follows a refreshing bath. With a blend of warmth and wisdom, she imparts to her husband the intricacies of wedding arrangements, a revelation that magnifies the formidable effort required to orchestrate such an event. Tsukasa's candid admission of her disinterest in the elaborate proceedings stems from a genuine aversion to the grandeur that often accompanies such celebrations. However, Aya, never one to shy away from voicing her opinion, interjects with a playful nudge reminding Tsukasa that the worth of the endeavor remains veiled until one takes the plunge. Nasa's unspoken yearning for glimpses of Tsukasa in bridal elegance finds voice through Aya's words. Fueled by Aya's suggestion, the couple embarks on a whimsical quest, their destination being the convenience store that houses the coveted treasure trove known as Zexi, a wedding magazine that holds the secrets to the dreamlike realm of matrimonial celebration. The air becomes a tapestry of excitement as they traverse the market, acquiring both their necessary provisions and the intriguing magazine, each page hinting at the splendor that could potentially grace their own lives. With their errands concluded and a shared ice cream in hand, the couple strolls homeward, the afternoon sun casting a gentle radiance upon their path. Amidst the comforting atmosphere of togetherness, Tsukasa's voice resounds, her sentiment carrying a touch of poetic simplicity. She espouses the idea that their bond, their shared moments, can effortlessly transcend the elaborate trappings of a grand wedding. Her words convey the profound notion that their love has already brought them to a pinnacle of union. Nasa, in harmonious accord, echoes Tsukasa's sentiment, a mutual understanding shaping their shared conviction. Hand in hand, they traverse the path ahead, the journey of their love unfolding with each synchronized step. As night's embrace envelopes them, nestled side by side, their shared laughter cascades through the air, punctuating the tranquil ambience. In this cocoon of affection, amidst a jolly atmosphere, the couple finds themselves instinctively weaving their wedding vows into the tapestry of their dreams, sealing their commitment in a moment that's as boundless as their shared affection. Observing Nasa's discerning discerning eye as he detects an error in a math equation presented within an enzyme. Tsukasa playfully remarks that she's certain he must have been a challenging student for his teachers. The realization dawns on Nasa that her statement holds more truth than he initially considered. In a seamless transition, the scene shifts to Nasa's dedicated teacher, Yanagi, who emits a weary sigh while contemplating the challenges inherent in the noble profession of educating young minds. With a resigned air, Yanagi prepares to depart from her place of work, only to be intercepted by the affable Taniguchi, a fellow educator, who ventures to ask her out. Regretfully, Yanagi declines the invitation, citing the perennial constraints of time, and exits the scene. In a fortuitous twist, destiny intercedes at a local convenience store where a coincidental encounter unites Yanagi and Nasa, their mutual greetings filled with the warmth of familiarity. Yanagi's perceptive gaze then alights upon the gleaming wedding band adorning Nasa's finger, prompting her curiosity and sparking a subsequent inquiry into his marital status. Amidst the subtle exchange, Yanagi's mind races with concern that perhaps a wayward girl has ensnared Nasa in her web. Expressing her worry, she forthrightly instructs Nasa to accompany her to his abode, a directive he willingly follows. Back within the cozy confines of their home, Tsukasa inquires about the unexpected visitor Nasa has brought along. Swiftly, Nasa introduces Yanagi, his teacher, prompting a bout of teasing from Yanagi, who delights in complimenting Nasa on his remarkably charming spouse. This jesting exchange eventually unfolds into a formal introduction, replete with courteous greetings. As the trio convenes for a shared dinner, Yanagi's initial apprehension softens, replaced by admiration for Tsukasa's culinary prowess and the genuine harmony of the couple's bond. Their post-dinner conversations continue, with Yanagi's curiosity piqued about Nasa's aspirations for the future. In response, Nasa articulates his philosophical stance, a resolute belief that his future self is going to decipher the path ahead. Nasa candidly expresses his intent to savor the present moments alongside his beloved wife. This heartfelt sentiment resonates with Yanagi, and as the hours unfold, she departs with a renewed perspective on the young couple's dynamic. Later, Yanagi privately reflects upon her interaction with Nasa and decides to reach out to Taniguchi, suggesting the prospect of a joint visit to an amusement park. The following day finds Tsukasa and Kaname engaged in casual conversation at the bathhouse, the latter commending Tsukasa for her adeptness as a clerk. Yet this tranquil scene is abruptly punctuated by the entrance of a striking figure, a blonde and imposing individual with a commanding voice. Kaname's apprehension escalates as she misinterprets the newcomer's appearance, fearing him to be a Yakuza member. In a humorous exchange brimming with tension and banter, Tsukasa boldly steps in, revealing herself as a Yuzaki, only to be met with clarification that the visitor is in search of a male Yuzaki. Amidst this comical to and fro, Nasa enters the scene, seamlessly diffusing the situation by addressing the enigmatic figure as Onamura Jinga. Recognizing Nasa as a familiar figure, Jinga greets him with familiarity, prompting a casual inquiry about Tsukasa. Nasa adeptly bridges the gap, introducing Tsukasa to Jinga, while revealing the familial connection as cousins. Jinga's countenance registers an unmistakable shockwave as the revelation of Nasa's marital status resonates, resulting in a dramatic fainting spell that interrupts the flow of the scene. Emerging from his brief lapse, Jinga extends a heartfelt apology to Tsukasa for his momentary lapse in etiquette. With a touch of comic relief, Kaname interjects, prodding Nasa with a quip about the potential affiliation of this unexpected guest with the Yakuza underworld. Nasa, his laughter laced with awkwardness, promptly dispels the notion, revealing that Jinga is merely a 17-year-old high school student devoid of any criminal affiliations. The narrative swiftly transitions into another intriguing chapter as Jinga beseeches Nasa for aid. An adorable twist emerges when Jinga and his companions admit to rescuing a stray kitten. However, their valiant efforts to reunite it with its owner have proven fruitless. With a gesture of camaraderie, Jinga places the endearing feline into Nasa's care, a decision met with Nasa's eager agreement to assist. Thus, the enchanting tale of Toast, the kitten, unfurls. Journeying to the veterinary clinic, Nasa's impressive breadth of knowledge regarding various animal treatments garners admiration even from the seasoned veterinarian. When queried about the kitten's appellation, Tsukasa ingeniously christens it Toast, due to its distinctive brown back and the captivating white patch adorning its middle. A temporal pause is mandated, requiring Nasa and Tsukasa to return in 2 hours, a period of anticipation that holds the promise of renewed hope for Toast. Reuniting with Jinga, Nasa elucidates the essential requisites for fostering the furry ward, a conversation laden with Nasa's innate compassion and practical advice. Tsukasa, ever observant, interjects a playful remark articulating that the fortunate kitten stands to gain immeasurably from Nasa's benevolent guardianship. Following the veterinarian's counsel, Toast is welcomed into their home, transforming their surroundings into a haven of feline affection. As night envelops the scene, the kitten rouses Nasa from slumber because of hunger. In the silent hours, the gentle exchange of sustenance unveils a poignant insight. Toast's endearing gestures of cuddles and playfulness are, interestingly, lavished upon Tsukasa. Dawn brings with it a candid confession from Tsukasa. Her voice is soft melody of assurance that the kitten's intuitive trust in Nasa mirrors the very foundation of her own faith in him. An exchange of affection culminates in an intimate kiss, a tender display of their enduring bond that evokes a blush enhanced by the curious, watchful gaze of none other than Toast, their newfound feline companion. Nasa's heart brims with joy as he observes Tsukasa's bubbling enthusiasm for their impending adventure at Muffy Land Amusement Park, nestled in the enchanting expanse of Maihama. Their ticket to this wondrous realm is a wedding gift from none other than Ginga, for which Nasa is profoundly grateful. The sun dawns on their journey, ushering Tsukasa and Masa into Maihama. A delicate drizzle paints the sky, a scenario that might dampen spirits, yet Nasa's apprehensions melt away like the raindrops when he witnesses Tsukasa's fervor undiminished by the weather. In a harmonious choreography of umbrellas and laughter, the duo immerses themselves in the park's delights, promptly acquiring admirable raincoats that stand as vibrant shields against the elements. Meanwhile, Chitos, coincidentally sharing the same park, is brought to the venue by Charlotte and Aurora. Chitos' query about this unexpected outing is met with a playful revelation. The maids expect to witness a delightful dance of romance between Nasa and Tsukasa while partaking in the exhilaration of the rides themselves. Before Chitos can offer her retort, the maids spirit her away to a whirlwind of rides, thus unfolding a comedic diversion. Within the park's embrace, Nasa and Tsukasa embark on their own journey. The sequence unfolds with a visit to the haunted house, where shrieks of fright are punctuated by shared laughter. A playful interlude within an arcade, adorned with a space-themed aura, unveils the couple's camaraderie and competition. As the tapestry of events unfolds, an unexpected encounter with Yanaji, Nasa's teacher, comes to fruition. Her presence is attributed to an invitation from a colleague who won park tickets. Swiftly connecting the dots, Tsukasa deduces the colleague's underlying affections for her, an inference that prompts her to deftly whisk Nasa away, safeguarding the nascent feelings of Taniguchi and Yanaji. Another attraction beckons, and amidst the exuberance of the environment, Tsukasa and Nasa cross paths again with Yanaji and Taniguchi. The dynamics between the two teachers draw Nasa and Tsukasa's attention, particularly Taniguchi's hesitance to bridge the gap between their hands. Tsukasa, wry observation captures the nuances of human relationships in a backdrop of playful banter. The sunlit intermission is succeeded by a collective convergence for lunch. Observing Tsukasa and Nasa's tender exchanges while selecting each other's meals, Aurora playfully hints to Chitos and Charlotte about their subtle yet profound way of flirtation. The meal shared under the open sky is a testament to their affectionate bond. As the day cascades into twilight, each party continues their individual explorations, savoring the park's offerings. A symphony of light eventually unfurls as the park is cloaked in darkness, a prelude to the anticipated parade and fireworks. Within this splendid spectacle, Nasa and Tsukasa's gazes align that they're not alone in this moment. Taniguchi and Yanaji stand adjacent to them, gazing at the same mesmerizing display. In a serendipitous twist, Taniguchi's long-nurtured emotions find an unexpected conduit amidst the spectacle. Just as he is poised to confess his feelings, Yanaji claims the spotlight, boldly inquiring about marriage. The park's ethereal atmosphere witnesses Taniguchi's joyous acceptance and reciprocation as the truth of their emotions crystallizes under the backdrop of bursting fireworks. Meanwhile, Nasa and Tsukasa's fingers find each other in a gentle entwining, a silent testament to their enduring bond woven intricately through the fabric of life's moments, both ordinary and extraordinary. While observing Nasa as he is concentrating on his work, Tsukasa admires her husband's reliability. Just at that moment, Kaname approaches and seeks Nasa's assistance in repairing a malfunctioning vacuum cleaner. Without hesitation, Nasa agrees and effortlessly restores the machine to working order. Impressed by his skill, Kaname showers him with compliments. Unexpectedly, Aya also appears and implores Nasa to aid her in studying, explaining that she cannot afford to fail her exams. Nasa, modestly acknowledging that he's only a middle school graduate, expresses doubts about helping with high school level studies. Undeterred, Aya insists that his intelligence is more than enough for the task. With a slightly awkward laugh, Nasa instructs Aya to bring her study materials. Upon seeing the content, Nasa realizes that the high school curriculum is far simpler than he anticipated. Thus, Nasa agrees to tutor her. Observing Nasa's commitments, Tsukasa inquires about his well-being. Worried about him, she questions whether he's fatigued from his activities. In response, Nasa acknowledges some discomfort in his shoulders and back due to prolonged work. Concerned, Tsukasa proposes that Nasa lie down, promptly preparing a comfortable spot with sheets. Determined to alleviate his discomfort, she offers him a massage. Initially hesitant, Nasa declines, not wanting to trouble Tsukasa. However, she insists, assuring him that as a married couple, it's natural for them to care for each other. Nasa finally acquiesces and nervously lies down, admitting that he's never received a massage before. Tsukasa's hands begin to work their magic, and he finds himself thoroughly enjoying the experience. In fact, Nasa even wonders if he could reciprocate the favor. Once the massage concludes, Nasa gathers the courage to ask Tsukasa if he can return the gesture. She agrees, suggesting a gentle shoulder rub. As he carefully massages Tsukasa's shoulders, she reveals her vulnerability, admitting that she becomes nervous when others touch her. Taking her words to heart, Nasa adjusts his pace, providing her with a soothing and tender massage. In this intimate moment, their bond deepens, marked by their shared trust and care for each other's well-being. The scene shifts as Kaname curiously approaches Nasa and inquires about the frequency of kisses exchanged between him and Tsukasa. Baffled by her question, Nasa wonders aloud about the relevance of such a query. Kaname playfully responds by mentioning a VTube documentary that delved into the various interpretations of kisses, including nuances tied to different locations. Nasa is taken aback as Kaname surprises him with the notion that kisses can carry varying meanings, like a kiss on the ear symbolizing seduction. Later in the evening, Nasa and Tsukasa visit a supermarket to gather groceries. On their way back, they take a detour, prompting Tsukasa to label it stroll date. Amid their leisurely walk, Nasa's mind revisits Kaname's words about the diverse connotations of kisses based on their surroundings, causing his cheeks to flush with a rosy hue. While they continue their amble, Nasa and Tsukasa unexpectedly chance upon Tanabuchi and Yanaji sharing a kiss. Flustered by the sight, the couple instinctively hides behind a bush until Tanabuchi and Yanaji depart. Emerging from their impromptu concealment, Nasa and Tsukasa retreat home. As they enjoy some grapes at home, Tsukasa reveals that Kaname provided her with a list detailing various kiss locations and their corresponding meanings alongside the grapes. Nasa's exasperation is palpable as he confesses that Kaname has also shared the list with him. The atmosphere between them becomes tinged with ambiguity, ultimately leading to a shared decision to experiment with kissing in all the specified locations. The following morning, Kaname probes Nasa about an incident in the park where she noticed Tsukasa preventing him from engaging in a certain act. Surprised by her observation, Nasa reflects on the situation and resolves not to indulge in such displays of affection in public spaces henceforth, opting to keep their intimate moments private. Upon her return from overseas, Kaname's mother presents her with hot spring tickets she won in a contest. Rather than keeping them for herself, Kaname passes these tickets on to Nasa, suggesting that he and Tsukasa embark on a honeymoon getaway. With her own family schedule tied up and the tickets nearing expiration, Kaname proposes this thoughtful gesture to her friends. Back at home, Nasa shares the idea with Tsukasa and she readily embraces the notion of a hot spring excursion. As they depart the next day, Tsukasa's thoughts wander to the possibility of Chitose interrupting their trip, given past experiences. Unexpectedly, Chitose surprises her friends by confiding in Charlotte and Aurora that she intends to refrain from disturbing them this time. Understanding their relationship as a married couple and being focused on her final exams, Chitose decides to give them their space. After a train journey, Nasa and Tsukasa arrive at their destination, greeted by the stunning expanse of the hot springs before them. Eager to make the most of this opportunity, they enter the hot spring facility and decide to start with a bath. While soaking in the warm waters, Nasa contemplates how to make this experience truly memorable, prompting him to research nearby attractions. However, his plans take a different turn when an elderly woman approaches him, seeking assistance in locating the reception area. Ever obliging, Nasa agrees to help her, inadvertently delaying his own plans. Meanwhile, back at the bathhouse, Aya voices her desire to escape her studies and enjoy the hot springs. Kaname offers a solution by suggesting that she utilize the facilities once the customers have left, effectively turning the baths into her own private hot spring. After closing hours, Ada expresses her grievances to Kaname, feeling deceived about the swimsuit cleaning task. To her surprise, Kaname reveals that she invited someone else as well, pointing at Chitose, who's clad in a school swimsuit. Curious about her presence, Aya questions Kaname's motives, to which Kaname responds that she brought Chitose along to prevent her from feeling lonely in Tsukasa's absence. This revelation sparks playful banter between Chitose and Aya, orchestrated by Kaname to create a typical hot spring episode scenario. Back at the hot spring, Nasa engages in conversation with the elderly woman, who turns out to be Tsukudome Tokiko, Chitose's grandmother and the signatory witness to Nasa and Tsukasa's marriage. Nasa is taken aback by this revelation, and Tsukasa playfully chides her grandmother for her antics. Tokiko explains that she orchestrated this encounter to help Tsukasa overcome her shyness about introducing her husband. Tokiko leads Nasa and Tsukasa to her room, where Nasa formally introduces himself. Gazing at the morning moon, Tokiko cryptically hints at Nasa's potential to achieve what has eluded others. She praises Nasa's qualities and the strength of their marriage, eventually diverting the topic by presenting Nasa with a ticket to become a hot springs expert in Kusatsu. Amidst Tokiko's enigmatic behavior, she also advises Tsukasa to express her feelings openly and not be overly bashful. Tsukasa, her cheeks flushed, takes the advice to heart. As they prepare to leave, Tokiko teases them to enjoy their time in Kusatsu. On their way back to their room, Nasa admits that he agrees with Tokiko's advice on expressing feelings, causing Tsukasa to blush once more. Nasa, engrossed in a typical romantic comedy manga, finds himself drawn to the scenario where the main characters enjoy a trip to a hot spring together. Despite being married to Tsukasa, he grapples with the idea of suggesting a similar getaway, unsure of how she'll react. The couple ventures outdoors, spending time in the charming hot spring field called Yubatik. Nasa finds himself captivated by his wife's presence, taking photos of her against the picturesque backdrop. Seizing an opportune moment, Nasa musters the courage to broach the subject of Tsukasa's relationship with Tokiko. Their conversation unveils that they are not bound by blood, but Tokiko has been a guardian figure in Tsukasa's life for an extended period. As the discussion shifts to open-air baths, Nasa tentatively expresses his desire to experience the private hot spring in their room. Tsukasa, without overtly addressing his statement, strolls toward the nearby eastern reverb to admire the view more closely. Nasa's thoughts remain consumed with the notion of sharing a bath with his wife, yet his apprehension prevents him from directly proposing the idea. Later, during dinner, Nasa and Tsukasa relish the delectable offerings before them and make plans to express their gratitude to Kaname for arranging the trip. Their conversation meanders through various topics, and as they gaze out of their room, Nasa realizes he's waited long enough. Gathering his courage, he finally asks Tsukasa to join him in the private hot spring. She instructs Nasa to enter first, ensuring her comfort before she follows suit. With the lights dim, the moonlight's glow fills the room as Tsukasa joins Nasa in the hot spring. Sensing her shyness, Nasa averts his gaze, allowing her to feel at ease. The two exchange declarations of love and playfully engage in the warm waters, the passage of time escaping them until they find themselves feeling overheated. Awakening the next morning, Nasa remains elated by the cherished moments shared with his wife. Tsukasa, who had ventured to the large baths, returns and informs Nasa that breakfast is almost ready. Following their individual bathhouse visits, the couple shares breakfast, impressed by the overall experience. Nasa observes Tsukasa's distant demeanor and detects her lingering embarrassment from the previous night's escapade. Their farewell is met by Tokiko's presence, who bids them adieu and captures a photograph with them, despite Tsukasa's reservations. On their journey back to Tokyo by train, Nasa reflects on the enjoyable trip, and Tsukasa agrees, resting her head on his shoulder, the intimacy between them palpable. Sweltering under the weight of summer's heat, Nasa and Tsukasa realize with dismay that their air conditioner has given up. Quick to address the issue, Nasa decides they need a new one, a decision that meets Tsukasa's approval. Seeking permission from Kaname, they're met with her easygoing consent. However, the challenge emerges during the installation phase, given the summer's peak demand for such services. Nasa's determination surfaces as he proposes to install the air conditioner himself, a notion that earns nods of impressed agreement from both Tsukasa and Kaname. After procuring the appliance, Nasa guides Tsukasa to a technical store owned by his friend for rental installation tools. Upon entering, Tsukasa's surprise is palpable as she discovers that Nasa's friend is Nakiri Uka, a young woman. With an introduction, Nasa reveals that Nakiri is his middle school classmate and informs her of their recent marriage. Nakiri is taken aback but warmly offers them a sealant paste as a wedding gift and waives the rental fees for tools. Returning home, Nasa adeptly installs the air conditioner. As they settle into bed, they turn it off for the night. However, Tsukasa's sleep is disrupted by the heat, prompting her to wake Nasa, who dutifully switches the air conditioner on. But as the night progresses, Nasa finds himself too cold, and a glance at Tsukasa shows she's feeling chilly as well. Adjusting the temperature for their comfort, Nasa finally drifts back to sleep. He awakens again, noticing Tsukasa is now feeling warm. Thoughtfully, he lowers the temperature, allowing both to find respite. The morning brings a role reversal as Tsukasa fills in for Kaname at work. A visitor, mistaking Tsukasa for Kaname, seeks assistance only to realize her error when Tsukasa speaks up. A lighthearted exchange ensues between the two. Kaname arrives and introduces the visitor as Kagami Kyuma, her rather quirky classmate. As Tsukasa and Kyuma engage in playful banter, Nasa joins them, cordially greeting Kyuma and introducing Tsukasa as his wife, leaving Kyuma taken aback. Nasa then departs to return the installation tools. Back at the technical store, Nasa and Nakiri converse about the lessons that come with marriage. Nasa reflects on the expansion of his world through his union with Tsukasa, a realization that encapsulates the growth and change brought about by their relationship. Tsukasa's inquiry about Nasa's affection prompts a swift affirmation of his love, leaving no room for doubt. Seeking insight, the next day, Nasa confides in Kaname about the incident and questions if his actions have inadvertently raised uncertainty in Tsukasa's mind. Kaname astutely deciphers the situation, explaining that Tsukasa's question arose from a desire for his attention. She further underscores the importance of consistently expressing his love to reassure Tsukasa. Armed with this understanding, Nasa searches for ways to naturally demonstrate his affection to Tsukasa. Ultimately, he settles on reading shoujo manga to glean insights into expressing love more casually. Tsukasa playfully disrupts his reading by placing toast on his head and indulging in a teasing tickle tickling session. In the aftermath of their playful interaction, Tsukasa kisses Nasa, curious about his choice of reading material. Nasa explains his motive, confessing that he wants to learn how to show his love to Tsukasa more frequently and spontaneously. She appreciates his efforts and encourages him to put his newfound knowledge into practice, leading to a flirtatious exchange. The scene transitions to a contented Tsukasa humming while cleaning the bath with Kaname. Kaname inquires about her cheerful disposition, but Tsukasa keeps the reason to herself, leaving an air of mystery. Night falls and Nasa finds himself in the midst of a bath. Surprisingly, Kaname approaches and proposes a joint bath with Tsukasa. Nasa regrets that they lack a suitable bath facility, but Kaname unveils her solution, unlocking the women's bath for him since business hours are over. The thin walls allow Tsukasa to overhear the conversation, and she consents, allowing Nasa to join her in the darkened bath area. The couple relishes their time together, moving from the bath to the sauna. As intimacy between them intensifies, their moment is abruptly halted by Aya's piercing scream. Exiting the bath area, Nasa and Tsukasa discover the source of the commotion, Ginga, who entered the men's bath after hours, having mistaken Nasa's presence for an open bath session. The unexpected intrusion brings a dose of humor and awkwardness, reminding Nasa and Tsukasa that even amidst romantic pursuits, life's surprises are never far away. A flashback transports Tokiko to her childhood, a vivid memory of a burnt village and a moment of rescue. She reflects on Tsukasa's kindness, saving her younger self by offering ohagi to eat. Transitioning back to the present, Tsukasa informs Nasa about a malfunctioning DVR. Nasa promptly diagnoses the issue as dead batteries in the remote and replaces them, restoring the device's functionality. Observing Nasa's efficiency, Tsukasa teases him about his initial suspicion of her competence. However, Nasa's thoughts reveal his deep admiration for her and how she frequently brings smiles to his face. Amidst their daily interactions, Nasa aids Tsukasa in unlocking her mobile phone due to a forgotten password. Curious about her life before marriage, Nasa inquires about her past endeavors. Tsukasa explains that Tokiko has been managing most matters for her and that the old lady is adept in the field of STEM. This revelation surprises Nasa, although Tsukasa jests that he must consider her a simpleton. Nasa reassures her with a warm hug and suggests they indulge in cake to lift her spirits. Nasa later shares the events with Kaname, and as Yanaji joins the conversation, she discloses her upcoming marriage. Amidst congratulations, Yanaji confides her concerns about developing similar tastes to Taniguchi's, fearing acceptance. Nasa and Tsukasa offer advice encouraging honesty in the relationship. The couple's conversations turn lighthearted, transitioning to their own visit to a beef bowl establishment. However, Nasa's shock ensues as he realizes his weight gain from Tsukasa's cooking. During breakfast, Nasa wonders about Tsukasa's ability to maintain her figure despite eating the same meals. A hug from Nasa prompts Tsukasa to inquire about his weight gain, leading to his reluctant confession. Tsukasa's reassurance doesn't deter Nasa's newfound resolve to exercise. Tsukasa later discusses Nasa's exercise plans with Kaname, who believes Nasa is capable. Nasa emerges, declaring his intention to run 10 kilometers, but his enthusiasm dwindles after just one lap around the bathhouse. Tsukasa joins to encourage him, and though the exercise proves more challenging than anticipated, it strengthens their bond. Returning home, they share cold noodles and are surprised to find Tokiko dining with them. Playful banter with Tsukasa and respectful greetings from Nasa ensue. Tokiko proposes a camping trip, emphasizing the soothing effects of nature and the night sky. Despite Tsukasa's initial resistance, Tokiko eventually persuades her by invoking her limited time left. She departs, leaving the couple a gift wrapped in cloth. Opening it reveals ohagi, a nostalgic link to Tsukasa's past and her kindness towards a young Tokiko. During breakfast, Tsukasa subtly tries to persuade Nasa that there might be more appealing places for stargazing than a mountain camping trip. However, Nasa remains determined, suggesting they go camping with Tokiko, who has gone to the extent of creating flyers for the excursion. Tsukasa's patience wears thin with Tokiko's enthusiasm. Meanwhile, Aya and Kaname notice the flyers and express their interest in joining the camping adventure. Approaching Nasa and Tsukasa, they seek permission, which is readily granted. Tsukasa adds that the camping site belongs to Tokiko, which transformed it into a campground, an unexpected revelation that surprises Nasa and Kaname. At the same moment, Kuma curiously approaches Tsukasa and expresses her desire to join as well. Kuma excitedly shares her perspective on camping as a fun activity. Nasa, inspired by Kuma's enthusiasm, suggests inviting others like Ginga and additional friends, which Tsukasa agrees to. Later, at Ginga's place, Nasa extends the invitation to camp, and Ginga accepts, inquiring about Aya's attendance. With Aya confirmed, that Root grows. Meanwhile, even Chitos and her maids decide to participate in the camping experience. The next morning, Aurora presents 2 transportation options to the group in the bathhouse: hiking or using a vehicle. Kanane opts for the vehicle due to work commitments, while the rest choose hiking. The scene transitions to Nasa, Tsukasa, Ginga, Aya, and Kuma embarking on the mountain hike. Observing Kuma lagging behind as she enjoys herself, Tsukasa encourages the others to proceed ahead while she catches up with Kuma. Tsukasa utilizes a shortcut to reunite with the group, sharing interesting tidbits about the mountain's bonds with Kuma along the way. After a while, the group encounters Chitose, who has descended due to their delayed progress. Concerned about Tsukasa's whereabouts, Nessa admits his unease to Chitose. She playfully reassures him, emphasizing that this trail won't challenge Tsukasa's capabilities. As Tsukasa and Kuma rejoin the group, the hike continues. Observing Tsukasa's adeptness at mountain climbing, Nasa inquires if she enjoys it. Tsukasa playfully teases him, asserting her proficiency in both climbing mountains and interest in modern inventions. Later at the campsite, finding themselves alone, Nasa musters the courage to express his desire to kiss Tsukasa, which immediately flusters his wife. Just as the atmosphere becomes charged with their shared emotions, Tokiko appears, adding fuel to the fire of their moment. Following this playful interlude, Tokiko addresses Nasa, foretelling a unique treat for the evening, a view that makes the moon seem within arm's reach. With those words, she departs, leaving Nasa and Tsukasa to themselves. In the gentle moonlight, Nasa and Tsukasa take a leisurely stroll, cherishing their private moments before rejoining the group. Their connection deepens during these intimate exchanges. Upon returning, they learn that Kuma has gone missing, prompting everyone to launch a search. Amidst the confusion, Nasa himself gets disoriented. Exhausted from the hike, he lays down, seeking solace, and unexpectedly drifts into sleep. After a while, the group reconvenes at the campsite, realizing Nasa's absence. Kuma nonchalantly points out that Nasa can be quite a handful, prompting Tsukasa and Aya to inquire about her whereabouts. Kuma's revelation that she has been in the restroom, though this has relieved sighs from Tsukasa and Aya. Later, Nasa awakens from a dream, recalling his first encounter with Tsukasa, only to find that Tsukasa herself woke him up. Astonishingly, the night has fallen. Learning that Kuma is safe, Nasa feels reassured. Curiosity piqued, he asks Tsukasa about her initial request for him to marry her in order to date. Tsukasa explains that people typically respond with disbelief or skepticism when faced with such an unconventional situation, expressing gratitude for Nasa's swift acceptance and the leap of faith he took for her. Tsukasa's words bring a smile to Nasa's lips. As they share this profound moment under the moonlit sky, their connection deepens, their gazes locked in a silent exchange of love and understanding. Amid the lively ambience of the campground, everyone is relishing a delightful barbecue feast. Tsukasa's curiosity leads her to inquire of Tokiko about the grand arrangement, to which the wily elder responds that this isn't a gratuitous affair. Tsukasa must indulge her just this once. As Kaname unveils a massive screen, the gathering is treated to a captivating narrative. With each word spoken by Kaname, vivid images of Nasa and Tsukasa's journey, from their initial encounter to their heartwarming marriage, grace the screen, leaving the couple astounded. Nasa's eyes catch sight of Nakiri amidst the crowd, adding an unexpected dimension to the celebration. Following the narrative, heartfelt congratulations pour in, showering Nasa and Tsukasa with warmth. Tokiko, the orchestrator of this grand affair, takes the stage, revealing that this surprise reception is her way of honoring their union. Guided by Kaname's enthusiastic summons, Nasa and Tsukasa take the stage to express their sentiments. Nasa's heartfelt words, artfully chosen, leave Tsukasa blushing in the spotlight. Playful teasing ensues as Kaname lauds Nasa for his charming eloquence. Amid the camaraderie, a sudden exclamation heralds another surprise. Nakiri presents a splendid wedding cake, yet before the couple can proceed to slice it, Kaname intervenes. With a flourish, Tokiko drapes a delicate floral veil over Tsukasa's head, jesting that the wedding gown can wait for the official ceremony. Nasa seizes the moment to compliment Tsukasa's beauty, evoking a warm smile from her. Their hands united, they deftly cut the cake, sharing this symbolic act of unity amid the heartfelt cheers of their friends and well-wishers. The festivity transitions to a serene moment of stargazing. Nasa becomes the cosmic guide, elucidating the constellations to an attentive audience. As the group revels in the celestial spectacle, Tsukasa arrives with an unexpected twist: fireworks. The vibrant bursts of color divert the attention of the crowd, affording Tsukasa a precious moment alone with Nasa. Suggesting coffee, Tsukasa's offer is momentarily derailed by Chitose's whimsical desire for the same. Just as the potential moment seems thwarted, Kaname emerges as the savior, volunteering to bring coffee for all and whisking Chitose away. Eventually, Nasa, Tsukasa, Chitose, and Kaname convene, savoring their cups of coffee together. In a contemplative moment, Nasa addresses Chitose's previous query, the reason behind his marriage to Tsukasa. Professing his love, Nasa articulates his inability to fathom the connection between love and marriage. In the midst of Nasa's introspection, Tokiko interjects, hailing him as a romanticist. A lighthearted exchange ensues, and Tokiko playfully invites Nasa to a private discourse about the stars, a separate discussion away from Tsukasa's current fascination with fireworks. As Tsukasa bristles at Tokiko's insinuation, the older woman playfully spirits Nasa away, leaving Tsukasa with a mixture of annoyance and bemusement. Within the tranquil embrace of the forest, Tokiko engages in an easygoing conversation with Nasa, casting a spotlight on Tsukasa. As Nasa recounts losing consciousness when Tsukasa proposed marriage to him, Tokiko's response carries a cryptic edge. She suggests that Nasa still remains in the dark about something significant. Nasa, ever perceptive, acknowledges this enigma but asserts his contentment in marrying Tsukasa, his instincts guiding him even amid the ambiguity. This revelation prompts an astonished widening of Tokiko's eyes, an inner recognition that Nasa is poised to fulfill Tsukasa's unspoken desire. Her parting words emphasize the importance of Nasa's care for Tsukasa, urging him to explore the depths of marriage by conversing with his wife about its essence. As Nasa departs from the woods, his contemplations shift to his destined meeting with Tsukasa on that moonlit night. Nasa's journey unfolds as if preordained. Emerging from the forest's embrace, he encounters Tsukasa by the serene shores of a lake. Curiosity tinges his question about her presence here, and Tsukasa unveils the vista that has captivated her, the harmonious convergence of Mount Fuji and the moon's luminance. Tsukasa then inquisitively asks about any peculiar talks with Tokiko. Nasa denies any peculiar discussions with Tokiko. His query transitions seamlessly into a broader inquiry, the reason behind marriage. Tsukasa's response unfolds poetically, like an intimate confession shared under the star-studded canvas of the night sky. She expounds that marriage is the quest for an enduring light, one immune to the ephemeral nature of human existence. Despite accomplishments, wealth, or renown, all are destined to fade away. People grapple with the inexorable march of time, yearning for a love that transcends their finite lives. The promise of marriage, Tsukasa explains, is an affirmation of their commitment to persist in the face of mortality. With eloquent clarity, Tsukasa unveils the tapestry of human connection woven by promises echoed by celestial constellations overhead. On this celestial canvas, illuminated by the radiant moon, Nasa and Tsukasa seal their devotion with a tender kiss, their words of eternal love whispered into the cosmos. The scene transitions to a lighter setting as Aurora, Aya, and Kyuman delve into a spirited discussion about a manga. Eventually, the couple finds solace in the cozy haven of their tent, thoughtfully arranged by Kaname and company. Their astonishment unfolds as they step into the luxurious enclosure, a bedchamber adorned with a large, inviting bed and crowned by a transparent ceiling that grants them intimate access to the twinkling stars above. The tent's enchantment casts an aura of bashful anticipation, accentuated by the soft blush that graces their cheeks. As they extinguish the lights, a serene intimacy envelops them. Wrapped in each other's arms, they surrender to the night's embrace, finding solace in the tranquil rhythm of their shared breaths and the whispered promises that seem to linger in the very fabric of the tent itself. And beneath the watchful gaze of the moon and stars, the couple succumbs to slumber, their hearts entwined and their dreams steeped in the essence of everlasting love. Tokiko's heart is burdened with a sense of helplessness, a poignant ache stemming from her inability to realize Tsukasa's cherished dream, a dream that had seemed destined to come true through the journey to the moon, aimed at obtaining a precious moon rock. In the embrace of morning's gentle rays, Nasa finds himself lost in contemplation, his gaze fixed upon the sun's golden ascent. It's at this tender moment that Tokiko approaches, extending a gesture of comfort by offering to craft a delectable serving of toast. Tokiko's culinary prowess unveils itself in the enticing aroma of freshly baked bread, artfully transformed into delectable, butter-kissed slices. With a touch of pride, she shares that these tantalizing treats hail from the finest bakery, nestled within the heart of Ginza. Nasa's acceptance of this culinary delight is laced with awe, each bite an exquisite revelation of taste and texture. Amid this serene exchange, Tokiko senses the weight of an important conversation stirring within her. However, the scene pivots abruptly as Tsukasa materializes, her curiosity piqued by the sight of Nasa savoring the morning's bounty without her. Her gentle reproach, cloaked in affection, captures Nasa's attention, drawing his gaze from his toast to his beloved wife. Tokiko, with an enigmatic grin, orchestrates a delightful reconciliation, swiftly preparing a plate for Tsukasa, merging the trio's shared bond in a warm, unspoken unity. Together, they partake in this simple yet intimate morning ritual, the tang of toasted bread mingling harmoniously with their laughter and the gentle caress of the sun's rays. The narrative shifts to a contemplative moment between Nasa and Tsukasa, their conversation echoing the sentiment of gratitude towards their friends that lingers after the memorable camping expedition. Amid this idyllic ambience, Nasa's phone chimes, signaling the call from his landlord. The voice on the other end relays that the construction of the new apartment building nears its completion. As Nasa shares this news with Tsukasa, an unspoken understanding dawns between them, a shared realization that their lives are evolving, propelling them forward into a future brimming with potential. The couple's curiosity leads them to the doorstep of the newly transformed building. Their eyes widen as they witness its expansive, revitalized form, a structure that seems to have outgrown even their own expectations. Within its walls, a newfound luxury beckons, embodied by the presence of a bath, an amenity that piques both Nasa and Tsukasa's intrigue. A shy glance exchanged between the two reveals a blossoming awareness, an unspoken acknowledgement that this new phase in their lives holds the promise of deeper intimacy. As their cheeks flush in tandem with their shared emotions, the sun's golden embrace mirrors the warmth of their connection, underscoring the profound journey they've embarked upon together. Returning to their temporary haven, Nasa is engaged in the task of gathering their belongings, preparing for the imminent departure. In this moment of transition, Kanae makes a poignant entrance, her voice carrying a touch of melancholy as she inquires about their impending departure. With a hint of desperation, she weaves a tapestry of reasons why they should linger, each strand woven with affection and a touch of longing. A final plea escapes her lips, the simple, earnest admission that she'll miss their presence. Tsukasa, sensitive to Kanae's sentiment, steps in with her signature grace and compassion. She gently reminds Kanae of her role in the bathhouse and assures her that both she and Nasa can maintain their connection by visiting and working there. Tsukasa's comforting words weave a sense of continuity into Kanae's heart, promising her that the warmth of companionship won't fade. In this tender exchange, Tsukasa leaves behind an indelible imprint of reassurance, ensuring that Kanae won't bear the weight of loneliness. Later that day, the couple's nocturnal footsteps lead them through the tranquil embrace of the night. The atmosphere becomes a canvas upon which Tsukasa imparts a lesson in the art of a tender embrace, guiding Nasa in the intricacies of holding a girl close. Amid their endearing banter, Nasa musters the courage to voice a question, one that exposes the vulnerability that lies beneath his seemingly composed demeanor. He seeks permission to rearrange Tsukasa's slumbering form on their futon, revealing her penchant for unruly sleep habits. This candid inquiry leads to a playful exchange, a reminder of the everyday intimacy that makes their relationship unique. In another sphere within the opulent confines of the Tsukuyomi mansion, Tokiko stands before the moon rock, a relic of dreams and aspirations. Memories unfurl in her mind, recollections of Tsukasa's whispered encouragement to live for herself. The narrative of time carries her back 2 years, a pivotal juncture when Tokiko is gifted with the luxury of spending time with Tsukasa for the last 2 years. A cascade of regret echoes in Tokiko's heart, a lament for her inability to fully honor Tsukasa's dreams. As the moon rock nestles in Tokiko's hand, a sudden weakness overtakes her. She collapses to the ground, the past merging with the present in a fragile moment of vulnerability. Dawn emerges with its gentle touch, and Tsukasa receives a call that shatters the serenity. Tokiko is hospitalized. Tsukasa's furrowed brow speaks of her concern, and Nasa acts swiftly, escorting her to the medical facility where their paths converge with Tokiko's. Within the hospital, Tsukasa's eyes meet the sight of Tokiko, indulging in donuts, a familiar spark of exasperation kindling between them. In an attempt to calm Tsukasa's fretful heart, Tokiko assures her that all is well, downplaying the situation. A video game becomes an unlikely messenger, passed from Tokiko's hands to Tsukasa's, a gesture carrying within it a touch of warmth. Tokiko excuses herself by mentioning the need to go to the restroom and sneaks out of the hospital. Nasa's instinct draws him toward Tokiko's side, seeking an understanding that transcends words. Outside in this whispered exchange, Tokiko imparts a truth that weighs upon her, the gravity of what she intended to share during their time together at the campground. The moon rock, an emblem of aspiration and promise, now rests within Nasa's hands, a tangible token of her trust. The conversation shifts. Tokiko's request becomes a plea, a poignant call to action. She urges Nasa to be a harbinger of Tsukasa's happiness, a custodian of her dreams. In this solemn moment, Nasa's assurance blooms, his vow echoing through the air as a testament to his devotion. As the thread of their conversation tightens, Tsukasa's arrival brings with it an air of naturalness, a moment that melds seamlessly into the tapestry of their connection. Amid the play of moonlight and shadow, Tokiko pushes Tsukasa towards her husband and leaves, ushering the intimacy that resides in the space between the couple. With a shared blush, Nasa and Tsukasa embrace, a gesture that speaks volumes of their journey, love, and the future that beckons.